Deltarune is a game that seems to want you, the player, to take a certain path. The game tries its best to convince you to go down the path that it sees best, but as we all know, we can manipulate the game and its story to be that of an alternative route. But what if we could go further? What if we could truly bend and break the rules of Deltarune? Instead of making Noelle proceed with the restrictions of the game, what if we can make Chris proceed with the only restriction being that of the mind? Now, the title doesn't lie. This unfiction truly has me hyped, and after one watch through, I knew my next unfiction video discussion would be on these few yet very impactful videos of the Open Heart series. There are moments where I genuinely felt like watching secret undiscovered content. You said ARG in the title and not unfiction. Yes, I know! This is an unfiction, but the average internet denizen is more familiar with the ARG term, and I need those views somehow. Look, semantics aside, let us delve deep to the first episode of the series, Not Moving an Inch. Now, before we truly start, I will also say that much like in my video about Ash Vale Lane, I'm not going to go over every little detail in the series, because I implores you to watch the series for yourself, so that you can see what you missed. The video starts off in chapter 4 scene where the soul is under an angel doll, with Susie and Noelle off to find a cage for what they believe to be a rodent of some kind. Normally in the game, not moving will make nothing happen, go figure. But for whatever reason, our protagonist, Aniclysm, who I will call Annie, decides to experiment a little and waits to see if anything could happen, leaving the room.
I'm gonna just wait and see if they come back. I'm just gonna leave this recording going.
While Annie is gone, we see new dialogue from Noelle, where she says... Eventually, Annie returns to his computer, remarking this about the scene.
Oh my god. Did this change while I was gone? I didn't actually expect something to happen.
Now we see even more of this undiscovered scene, with Susie saying, yeah, well, you can pull your weight later. You'll be the one that, like, cleans up after it and stuff. Right. Are you sure you want to go through with this? You could just drop it outside. A mouse is like a big responsibility. And also super gross, now that I think about it. After dropping the cage, Susie then inquires to Noelle, asking, hey, Noelle, mind if I ask you something weird? Do you think I'll make a good parent? Huh? Like, to the mouse. Oh, Susie, I'm sure you'll do great. You can be really sweet when you want to be. After Noelle says this, Annie begins to talk more about the scene unfolding, remarking,
There's just so much dialogue that I've never seen.
After this, Susie continues, when I want to be... Well, if we're gonna raise this thing, let's start by raising the stupid angel doll. I'm dying to know what the heck this thing is.
There's no way they actually see the soul, because I definitely would have heard people talk about that.
Well, just you wait, Annie. Just you wait. After the deluge, Susie and Noelle walk over to the doll, with Susie grabbing hold of said doll. After studying the intense dialogue of Susie, Annie has an idea and does a little research.
There's like a Deltarune dialogue dump online of like all the strings in the game. I'm gonna search that for a second just to make sure I'm not going completely crazy.
He tells us about a website that contains every line of dialogue in the 4 chapters of Deltarune. However, when inputting some of the lines that appear here into the Control F function, we see...
$20 hit this rabbit or something.
nothing. Annie is truly the only person on the entire planet to see what is occurring in the game. Now, this is some spooky shit, I tell you what. After this, Annie asks a really deep question.
Is my computer like infected? Did I get like a cool Deltarune virus?
As Annie ponders this, the scene continues, with Noelle saying, I'll take you up on that.
What is happening?
Shit, man, I don't know either, don't ask me. Wait, like, actual money, though? Nah, figure your speech. I mean, not like it would be an issue for you. Well, it sounds dumb when I put it like this, but I've kind of always had a fear of getting addicted to gambling. I mean, I used to be super into those video games where you could spend points to win random prizes. Every time I gave up without getting the grand prize, it would just eat away at me until I came back and tried again. What if it was just a spin away? Is what I would tell myself. Damn. Wish I had that kind of dedication. I mean, it was bad. I had a lucky number and everything, It just freaks me out thinking about what I'd become. If the stakes were, like, real, you know? Whoa. The mouse. Let's look at the mouse. First for me. Noelle's a true gamblehead, and as someone who lives in the Vegas area, I respect that. Mouse, hamster, cat, whatever it is. Let's name it something metal. For like irony. Unless you had something else in mind. You know what? I like that. Sweet. 3, 2, 1, welcome to the world, Skull Crusher!
What?
Now, this moment had me reeling. It was so fucking cool to see a scenario where Susie and Noelle see the soul. Even rewatching the video for the script has me feeling like I took a meth hit. Now you know why this series has me hyped. But wait, there's more. After revealing the soul and putting the doll back, Susie has a Thousand Island stare, and after brief uncomfortable silence, she is the one to break it, saying, Noelle? What the hell did we just catch?
They just saw
Susie, that was... Can I see it again? Yeah. It almost seems as if Noelle knows what that is. Odd. Dude, you're kind of freaking me out.
About this.
Noelle? Chris. With this, Noelle definitely knows what's up. She knows that what they are seeing is Chris's soul. Why else would she say their name after seeing it? With the new and suspenseful music, the drama continues to unfold.
What is that song? What's happening?
Chris?
What?
What does Chris have to do with this? I swear, this is some advanced prank they're pulling. I'm impressed. No, Susie. This looks like a soul?
This is a creepypasta.
What? No, that's... You... Are you saying that thing is Chris? If something happened to Chris, if this is really their soul, Susie, this feels like a nightmare, but something's telling me I shouldn't be afraid. Something's telling me Chris isn't...
What, dead in the kitchen?
Something's telling me I should be relieved? Noelle, it's a sound. It's... piano? Well, this just further proves that Noelle is indeed #noticing. After Susie grabs the soul and makes a run for it, we see the subject of Susie's concern. After Chris makes their way out of the kitchen, they leap after the soul, knocking Susie to the ground. Hey, what gives?
Oh my god, oh my god.
Chris, let go of her.
Oh.
Holy crap. Who knew just how different things would be if Susie and Noelle had seen the soul in the real game? After all the calamity, we now see Chris back in the kitchen, under the control of the soul.
Okay.
Annie tries to open the door, but to no avail. After this, Annie then says,
Oh my god! My storage! I have to stop recording.
His storage? What about it? Well, perhaps we will see. After this, the video ends. Now can you see why this episode had me hooked? This episode and series as a whole just shows just how far you can make a simple concept last. The concept being, what if Susie and Noelle discovered the soul in Chapter 4? But like I said earlier, there's more. And boy does this series get even more interesting. But now we go on to our next episode. I Can Do Anything. The next video sees Annie right where he left off. Except this time he has some pretty interesting news to share with the class.
You'll know that my Deltarune data file, the data.win file, that has all the sprites, the code, it's grown to like 100 gigabytes. So is my save file. So it's like 200 gigabytes just allocated to Deltarune right now. It's a working theory, and it does explain some things. It explains what I'm about to show you.
Before the shocking reveal, let's just take a moment to say collectively, holy shit, 118 gigs? Now that is fucking nutty. Could have possibly made Deltarune's file size equivalent to that of Red Dead Redemption 2. Well, here's what Annie reveals to us.
So basically, I was thinking, if I'm no longer like bound by the linear storyline of Deltarune, if I can just, do this other route that shouldn't be in the files in the first place, why do I still have to choose when I get like a dialogue choice between yes or no, open the door, don't open the door? Why does it give me those choices? If the soul is a stand-in for the player, shouldn't I be able to tell Chris to do whatever I want? Chris, take the eggnog out of the fridge. So this is what I'm working with right now.
Bro, what? You mean to tell me that through finding a secret in the game, Annie can now manipulate the game to make choices that are otherwise impossible in the real game? Well, I guess the player is truly in control now. Instead of the soul being able to just control Chris, now the soul can manipulate what is pretty much the reality of Deltarune. This concept alone is what proves to me that this series has something special to offer. A really cool concept that, to my knowledge, no one else has done, at least with Deltarune. And he then further proves just how much the game can be changed. After reloading his save, he now tells Chris,
Now, Chris, get the pickles. You see, it is different.
it is truly different. Now, the next scene I will show gets strange, but I'll explain why I include it. And he walks up to the stove and makes Chris turn the coils on as high as they can go. Then, in a sickening fanaticism, Annie then makes Chris touch the stove, which actually causes Chris to lose HP in the light world, which is otherwise impossible in the real game. Thankfully, Annie realizes how fucked up the scene is and reloads the save. Now, the reason why I include this scene is because I like how it sets up that Annie will not needlessly be cruel to Chris, despite what just happened. To me, it would be kind of cheap and easy to go the whole Gunslinger Pro 2009 route of the player has control and will be evil and tormenting all the time. Me personally, I think it's better storytelling to actually have Annie try to work with Chris in some way and really think about what options should be picked. But instead of being given options from the game, Annie has to come up with options all on his own. After letting Chris take the katana, with massive improvement in stats by the way, then Annie makes Chris den Weihnachtsbaum herumklettern to go out the otherwise inaccessible door. But before he does, Annie proposes the following.
You might be wondering why I took the time to gear up. I want to make a dark fountain. I hope Chris can't hear me right now. I don't think they'd like me saying that. You're right. I'm not sure if I'm gonna ever get this opportunity again. So, dark fountain. Where do I make it? Because I think I'm in control now, even more than I was before. Sorry, Chris, if you can hear me.
After this, the video ends. If the last video didn't hook you in, which why wouldn't it, then this one absolutely should. Again, like stated previously, it's so cool to see such a simple concept grow into something really crazy and become very interesting. We went from, what if Susie and Noelle saw the soul, to, what if the player could manipulate the game by making their own choices for Chris to perform? I can't wait to see more. As of November 10th of 2025, there's only one more episode to look at, but much like this video and the previous one, it is a juicy and buttery steak of a video. We now march ahead to Behind the Wall. Our last video sees Chris in a new and unfamiliar location, this being the back porch to Noelle's house, and he then addresses...
I want to address one thing from the comments, though, and get out of the way. A few of you pointed out that when I saved last video, it didn't save my inventory. It didn't save my actual, game progress. It only saved the choices that I'd made. And I didn't notice that at first. And when I learned about it, I didn't know what to make of it, but after a bit of testing, now I know that if I want to actually save my progress, I have to save twice in a row, which seems arbitrary, but I think it's kind of like a debug mode. Not like a debug mode, like a different game mode. It's like I'm in like a story generation mode instead of just playing the game.
An interesting conundrum. Perhaps that explains the massive inflation of the file size. Since Annie's adding more details to the game, it would make sense that the file size also increases, but it still doesn't explain why it's 100 plus gigs. After leaving the shed, we are met with this chilling scene.
Got locked into this. God.
Chris. You know it's rude to let yourself out while you're visiting friends. You left Noelle in a state. She said that you were acting unlike yourself. That you've been acting unlike yourself. Care to give me your side of the story? I'm not quite sure what you're trying to communicate.
Chris, say what you want.
I'll leave you be. But you best have a good explanation for my daughter. Something involving a red glow stick and a throw pillow, perhaps? Some invisible wire? That kind of lark isn't unlike you. Take care, Chris. And keep a little +1 away from anything valuable. Well, golly. Here we get to further see how Annie is able to craft a choice, letting Chris say what they want. However, we don't know for certain what Chris said. For all we know, they could have literally said, what you want. But what do I know? After that cold scene, we now get to see the backyard, decked out with swimming pool and all. So you really know Noelle and her family are balling out. Here, Annie talks about a common sentiment in the comments.
One sentiment I saw a lot in the comments was that you want me to check on Chris and work with them. I want to try to do that. I want to hear them talk.
Shit, I think we all do. This scene further shows how the unfiction is going in a direction that isn't the over-the-top, player is evil shtick. A big plus in my book. With this, Annie checks in on Chris, asking,
Chris, how are you, Chris?
Interesting. We don't really know what emotion that could convey. Possibly shocked that the soul is directly asking them how they feel. Asking a second time reveals a more clear answer. You shook your head vacantly. This is Chris indirectly telling the soul that they aren't feeling too swell, and given the current situation, I don't blame them one bit. Annie then gets an idea on how to get Chris to directly communicate more.
Chris, write me a note. What?
Very intriguing. What could that note possibly mean? Perhaps Chris wants the soul to tell Susie and Noelle how everything that just happened in the first episode was but a prank? What do you six think? Annie then tries to get Chris to further communicate, asking,
Chris, open notes app. Okay. Chris, write what you want to say to me, or read the note. Oh my god. Come on.
Such a prankster, this one. Also, when I was first watching this, I thought that Chris would actually somehow open the Notebook app on Windows and type something, but even I think that'd be a bit much for this series. After this failed attempt, Annie then asked another deep and very personal question to Chris.
Chris, stomp twice if you want me to shout out. Oh. God.
Again, I love it when an unfiction keeps things in character. To me, it kind of helps to ground the unfiction to reality a bit and make it more believable. After all, it seems like many people thought that episode 1 was real unseen content, which is just crazy in my opinion, but this scene is also something that I could totally see happening in the real game. Eventually, Chris makes their way back to the house where we see Noelle and Susie talking. They won't barricade themselves in the kitchen forever. They'll open the door like nothing happened and say it was all a joke. And we can work on our group projects at the library. Yeah, I guess that does sound like them. But, listen, I get you've known them for longer than all, but Chris I know wouldn't let us worry this much. And they're not this good at acting. That's normal, isn't it? To be a different person around different people? I guess so. I see how you changed around your mom. Not in a bad way or anything. I just meant, I get it. My... Chris! The hell? First you get us thinking your soul fell out, then you hide in the kitchen for like half an hour? I mean, it's where all the food is, so I don't not get it. But if you're going to be pranking us so hard, at least let us in on the spoils. It was a pretty good prank, Chris. It's nostalgic, really. I can't remember the last real prank you pulled.
Should I tell her it wasn't a prank?
I don't know, should you? It seems like that's the option Chris doesn't want you to make, but if they don't want to cooperate,
Whoa,
then...
I didn't say Chris. Is that a coincidence?
Seems like the right choice. Yeah, Noelle kind of filled me in. Chris, you gotta tell me how you pulled that off. Noelle's been telling me all about the way you used to act. And it's got me wondering. Why haven't you been pranking me? You've passed up so many goddamn perfect chances. Come on, I'd be a good sport about it. Could have put some super glue on my hairbrush. Fed me non-toxic chalk and make me look like a wuss. Take the Target Me sign to my back. I guess you did make me wear a ribbon that one time. Huh? In a video game? Which one? But now I know you've been holding back. So from now on, don't you dare not be yourself around me. Do your worst. But rather you didn't make a habit of faking your death. Cover yourself in ketchup, whatever. That's a classic. But floating hearts are off the table, alright? One of my favorite scenes in the whole series thus far. It's written in such a way that absolutely feels like something that Susie would say to Chris, and who knows, maybe she will in the real game at some point. After this cute little scene of cute little characters, Annie asks a question that made me sit on the edge of my 5-year-old crappy gamer chair.
Should I tell Noelle the Dark Worlds are real? I know Susie said she doesn't want her to know. It'll be better, right? I can skip the dramatic irony. That's not the right word. The unnecessary suspense. They'd probably be happy that they can go on adventures together and stuff. I guess this isn't the weird route. Noelle's in a pretty good state. She can process this information. I kind of want to be honest.
I'm sure Chris isn't too thrilled to hear all that. Although not stated before, we directly hear Annie say that this isn't the weird route and that Noelle is supposedly in a good state. Is she really? With this, we get a scene so tense that even on rewatch it's got me spooked.
Chris, Dark Worlds are real. I don't regret this. Okay.
I know.
Cool.
You do?
Let's hear it for a second.
Yeah. I mean, a part of me knew. Sorry, Susie. It's not that you weren't convincing, it's just... all my real dreams are pretty much the same. Noelle, we weren't going to tell her.
It's okay.
What happened to keeping civilians out of this?
She's fine.
I know she's our friend, and we just had fun in the cyber world,
What'd she have?
but it's not all roller coasters and Ferris wheels anymore. You know that. Noelle, what's that? A pencil?
God, I'm not gonna have to do anything.
I need answers, Chris. I remember what Queen said, you know. I got so close to trying it, just to make sure. Making a dark fountain. Whoa, calm down, we can use our words. You want us to tell you about the Dark Worlds, yeah? We're still kinda in the dark ourselves, but that isn't what I meant. I need answers about Chris.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Chris? If the Dark Worlds have something to do with how Chris has changed, then I need to know. Whoa, slow down. This is because Chris is different from when you were kids? You just said a minute ago that people change. No, they don't. People act different sometimes, but they don't just change overnight. Not like Chris has. Well, why don't you say this to their face? Stop talking about them like they're not here. They aren't here, Susie. Chris? Got an explanation for her? Come on, Chris. Tell me what to do. Holy shit. This scene is so fucking good. I just can't get over how great it is at setting up so much tension in such little time. Especially the part where Noelle almost makes a dark fountain. That shit had me capital H hyped. Through Noelle's dialogue, she is definitely letting on more than she knows. It seems that Noelle knows that Chris isn't really Chris. In fact, it seems like she knows that it is Annie, and she asks Chris what to do. And when presented with the options, this is what Annie does. Side note, I love the sound of the fountain opening. Toby further proves his sound design genius. After Noelle stab wounds the ground, Susie says this to Chris. Chris, listen, I don't know what's going on between you and Noelle.
I think I messed up.
Let's focus on sealing this fountain before Mrs. Holiday gets home. Just leave me alone for a second, alright? I think you done goofed as well. As the darkness of the fountain further pours, Annie makes another great choice.
Chris, call Birdley.
Chris, calling to tip the scales of affection in your favor?
Birdley, get over here now.
Chris?
Oh, Chris, get over here now.
Pardon? I'm sorry, Chris. You'll have to repeat yourself.
Chris, come to Noelle's house.
I'm encountering some minor interference. You said something about Noelle? The colors on your phone's display begins to bleed and shimmer. You put it away while you can. Oh shit, wingdings, the garbage noise, the darkness. The fountain has consumed the inside of the holiday home, and with it we see the following. That's right, a motherfucking dark world, bitch, inside of the holiday home. Although the episode continues for a bit after this, I won't spoil the scenery. Don't give it a gander for yourself. So with this ending, it seems as if Annie has completely changed not only Chapter 4, but the entire game itself, which leads me into my mini-story summary. Annie's playing Chapter 4 of Deltarune, and when he gets to the part where Susie and Noelle run off to find a cage for what they believe to be a mouse under an angel doll, Annie decides to wait a bit and see what happens. After an undisclosed amount of time, we see new content, that being of Noelle and Susie returning with the cage. However, instead of seeing a rodent, they are met with the soul. With Susie thinking that something has happened to Chris, we see Chris return and snatch the soul back from Susie, then lock themselves in the kitchen. With this, Annie realizes that if the game can be manipulated in this way, then perhaps it could be further manipulated. It is upon this realization that Annie can make Chris do pretty much anything, with some hiccups. Eventually, after making Chris tell Noelle the dark worlds are real, it seems that Noelle has known all along, but also seems that Noelle also knows that Chris isn't really Chris. And after asking the supposed Chris what to do, Annie makes Chris tell Noelle to stab the ground and create a dark fountain. As I said before, there are only 3 episodes at the time of writing. Despite this, I am hooked onto the series and I cannot wait for more. Perhaps when there are more episodes, I'll make a part 2 to this video? I don't know. What do you 7 think? Now, before I let the class go for the day, I will leave you with these lyrics. And if you can guess the song, you win 5 points. Now, why am I going to show you these lyrics? Well, I think not only do they relate to this unfiction, but I also think they relate to the game itself. Through my anatomy dwells another being, rooted in my cortex, a servant to its bidding. Alright, now I'm going off script yet again for the ending of this video. So of course, like always, thank you for watching. If you actually watched all the way through and made it here, again, a billion times appreciated. Now, even though this is the unscripted section, I do actually have some little things to talk about that I wrote in my script. So yeah, like, I didn't find this series on my own. This was recommended to me by someone in the comments of the Asheville Lane video, or they actually recommended me 2 of them. The first one was this one, Open Heart, and I watched it and I'm like, holy shit, this is great, I'm gonna make a video about it. The other one was, I don't want to say it's bad, it's just not really anything. So I just decided just to make one on this. Originally, I thought I was gonna make one video on both of those ARGs, but the other one was just kind of so now I'm just dedicating this one video to this one. So shout out to whoever recommended this, I appreciate it. And my next talking point was I actually do think that, and I probably should have put this in my theory video, although there's not really much evidence for it, was that I do think that a dark fountain will be in Noelle's house in the game, potentially in chapter 6 or the one after 6. Honestly, I think it'll be something like chapter 5 is the flower shop, chapter 6 is Noelle's house, and then chapter 7 is the bunker. But again, we don't know for certain just yet. So, and then my last little talking point was probably my only kind of gripe with the series is, again, like, how do you? It's not really explained in depth kind of how Annie realizes that he can control the game through like directly telling Chris stuff. It's like kind of like what this silly little comment talks about. He's controlling him like an Amazon Alexa. And yeah, it's kind of just like, I don't know how you go from like, oh, waiting around got me this new scene to, oh, if I command Chris to rip up the dead, he will. And it's just, I mean, again, it's a cool concept and all, but like, I think it'd be better explained on how Annie came to that conclusion in the first place. So I mean, hey, if you're watching, that's the only gripe I have. So maybe you can try to delve on that a bit more or something. IDK, bro, it's your fucking ARG, bro. You do whatever your little heart desires. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. I don't know what my next video will be, so, and again, I'm not making any promises, so my next video will be a video. So with that being said, goodbye. 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 Goodbye.